This is a True Crime in Real Time update from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.
Convicted murderer Alex Murdaugh has launched a new bid for freedom, filing an appeal to overturn his convictions for the brutal 2021 murders of his wife Maggie and son Paul. This latest development, a meticulously crafted 121-page document submitted to the South Carolina Supreme Court, alleged jury tampering by Becky Hill, the former clerk of court for Colleton County. The appeal raises questions about judicial integrity, challenging the fairness of one of the most high-profile trials in recent history. Murdaugh, once a scion of South Carolina's powerful low-country legal dynasty, is serving 2 consecutive life sentences for the killings, convictions handed down after a jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. His legal team now claims that Hill, who resigned earlier this year under a cloud of ethics violations, improperly influenced the jury. Allegations include Hill's private conversations with jurors about Murdaugh's guilt and advice to watch his body language. These accusations include claims that Hill entered the jury room during deliberations, a breach of protocol that contradicts judicial procedures meant to ensure impartiality. Hill's actions have drawn further scrutiny due to her decision to publish a book, Behind the Doors of Justice, shortly after the trial. While the book reportedly earned her significant financial gains, it has since been removed from circulation. Critics argue that her financial and public aspirations created a conflict of interest, compromising the sanctity of the trial process. Murdaugh's attorneys argue that Hill's actions should result in a mistrial, emphasizing that interference of this nature cannot stand in a court of law, particularly in such a critical case. The appeal also revives debates about the evidence used during the trial. Central to Murdaugh's conviction was damning cell phone data that placed him at the Moselle estate near the time of the murders. Prosecutors presented a chilling narrative. Murdaugh ambushed his son Paul in the kennel area, shooting him twice with a shotgun before using a .300 blackout semi-automatic rifle on Maggie, firing 5 times even as she collapsed to her knees. The brutal nature of the killings and the forensic evidence presented were pivotal in securing the guilty verdict. Murdaugh's defense contends that the jury's ability to fairly weigh this evidence was compromised by Hill's alleged misconduct. They argue that her reported comments to jurors introduced bias, undermining the principle of impartiality. Hill's alleged ethical lapses extend beyond the Murdaugh trial. In June, South Carolina officials filed ethics violations against her, citing misuse of county funds, unauthorized bonuses, and orchestrating a photograph of Murdaugh in his holding cell, a move that further sensationalized an already high-profile case. Hill has denied wrongdoing related to the trial, stating that her resignation in March was prompted by public scrutiny and a desire to focus on her family. Nevertheless, these allegations have fueled debates about the integrity of Murdaugh's conviction. Legal experts and the public alike are grappling with the implications of a trial potentially compromised by personal ambition and ethical violations. The murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh shocked South Carolina and drew national attention, partly due to the family's storied history. For nearly a century, the Murdaughs wielded unparalleled influence as solicitors and district attorneys in the Low Country region. That legacy began to unravel with revelations of Alex Murdaugh's financial crimes. Concurrent with his murder convictions, Murdaugh was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison for defrauding clients of millions. Prosecutors accused him of exploiting vulnerable clients to fund a lavish lifestyle. At sentencing, Murdaugh expressed remorse, but offered little solace to those he'd wronged. In January, Murdaugh's defense first raised the issue of jury tampering with former South Carolina Chief Justice Jean Toll, who dismissed the allegations, citing insufficient evidence to prove the comments swayed the verdict. However, in August, the Supreme Court overturned Toll's decision, agreeing to consider whether the alleged tampering merits a retrial. Legal analysts have noted that the court's decision to review the matter reflects the seriousness of the allegations and their potential to undermine public confidence in the justice system. Public opinion remains sharply divided. To some, Murdaugh's appeal is a desperate ploy from a man already convicted of heinous crimes. To others, the allegations against Hill represent a betrayal of judicial ethics that, if proven, could undermine the legitimacy of the verdict. As the Supreme Court prepares to deliberate, the implications are clear. Justice must not only be done, but be seen to be done. Murdaugh's legal team is also contesting the inclusion of his financial crimes during the murder trial, arguing that the evidence prejudiced the jury by portraying him as morally bankrupt. Prosecutors counter that the financial pressures Murdaugh faced provided a motive for the murders, a theory central to their case. The inclusion of this evidence remains a contentious point that could play a pivotal role in the Supreme Court's decision. Legal experts continue to debate whether admitting financial crimes was necessary to understand Murdaugh's motives or whether it unfairly tainted the jury's perception of him. As South Carolina awaits the court's ruling, the Murdaugh saga continues to captivate and polarize. At its core lies a complex interplay of privilege, power, and justice, with each development adding new layers of intrigue. Whether this appeal will result in a retrial or reaffirm the convictions, one thing is certain: the reverberations of this case will be felt for years to come. The outcome will not only determine Murdaugh's future, but also set a precedent for addressing allegations of misconduct in high-stakes trials, ensuring the integrity of the justice system remains uncompromised.
In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface,
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
where hidden killers roam unnoticed in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Bruschi as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi.